Welcome to Restoring Hope, the podcast of the Missionaries of the Precious Blood, where we share stories of faith, mission, and spirituality of the precious blood at work in our world today. I'm your host, Patrick Higgins. Today, we're taking a spiritual journey to one of the most beloved pilgrimage sites connected to the precious blood community, the Sorrowful Mother Shrine in Bellevue, Ohio. For generations, pilgrims from across the country have come to the sacred place seeking healing, quiet reflection, and a deeper encounter with God through the intercession of the Sorrowful Mother. The shrine holds a special place in the history and spirituality of the precious blood tradition, offering a space where prayer, devotion, and hope come together. Our guest today is Marsha Danoff, Operations Director of the Shrine. Marsha helps guide the mission and ministry of this sacred place while welcoming thousands of pilgrims each year who come searching for peace, prayer, and renewal. Marsha joins us to talk about the history of the shrine, its deep connection to the spirituality of the precious blood, and why pilgrimage continues to be such a powerful experience for people of faith today. Marsha, welcome to Restoring Hope.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Well, we're glad to hear you today, and we're anxious to get to talk about the shrine. I've been there twice, and it is, as I mentioned, a very powerful place for reflection and spiritual comfort. So let me ask you, Marsha. Let's just start out. Explain the name. The Sorrowful Mother Shrine. From that name, it doesn't sound like it would be a joyous place to visit, but it is. So can you explain the name a bit?
It is a joyous place to visit. The shrine is dedicated to the Sorrowful Mother in memory. I mean, it's her son. And so when her son that died for us, all of us, and that's what the shrine is all about. It's through people come here to seek the intercession of the Blessed Mother or the Sorrowful Mother. And it's just a serene, peaceful place. The word sorrowful, I don't think, really is meant to describe the shrine, but rather to describe coming here and asking for the intervention of our Blessed Mother.
Perfect. Okay. All right. That explains it. I think for many of our, maybe for some of our visitors who aren't familiar with it, the sorrowful, that term sorrowful refers to her sorrow over the crucifixion of her son, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
So the shrine has pretty deep historical roots. How did it begin and what inspired its founding?
Well, we've been here for 175 years.
Wow.
And, it was settled with the German settlers around here, I think, were primarily part of the founding. Obviously, Father Brunner.
And let's explain that to our listeners who may not be familiar with Father Brunner.
So Father Brunner came here from, I believe, from Germany, and came this direction, and primarily came here because this area was settled by Germans. And he came here, and I believe he founded or opened a church, St. Gaspar, first, I believe. And then, kind of as a result of that, the shrine came about, so to speak. There was St. Gaspar, the church was over there. I understand that the Missionary, the Precious Blood Sisters were also on that property at one time. And there was a pathway. He wanted a shrine here to the Blessed Mother because of his mother's dedication. Father Brunner's mother had a fond dedication to our Blessed Mother. And so he wanted a little shrine here, and I believe it was a very small, like, grotto shrine, and then obviously developed over the years. There was a pathway through the woods from St. Gaspar's Parish to the shrine on this property. And then in 1850, the actual shrine chapel was built, and that chapel is still on this property today.
Okay, Marsha, explain to our listeners who haven't been able to get to the shrine. How big is it? What does it look like? What is the acreage? Kind of give us the feel.
I know, depending who you talk to, they'll say it's 140 acres, or then somebody will say, no, it's 150 acres. So it's it's about 145 acres of property that we are seated on. We have the original chapel, which was built in 1850, and of course it did burn to the ground. I believe on the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. and then it was rebuilt, and I believe this is correct, within a year. And it is on that same, it's on that same location. And we have in the 1916, late 60s, early or 1970, the outdoor Pieta Chapel was constructed. That is a large open air chapel. It's beautiful. It's open on both sides, hence we call it open air chapel. We have mass out there beginning in the spring, usually right in May, and depending on weather, we have mass out there through sometimes October. And honestly, that is so well attended. We have hundreds of people visiting us on the weekends. So those are the two chapels where mass is being said. But we set off the road. You'll come back along past or long driveway, and the first thing you'll see is our Blessed Mother. And we have 43 grottos on our property now, and they're all through the woods. It's all wooded. They're paved pathways, wheelchair accessible, and there's just 43 grottos. So they're to different saints. We have Our Lady of Lourdes is probably our most visited grotto. Second to Our Lady of Guadalupe. We have you can a ton of saints. There's a saint for all those grottos.
And the purpose of the shrine, obviously, when you visit those grottos, is to, and correct me if I'm wrong, to find the grotto or to just to experience the whole shrine, but to find that grotto that you may most relate to, that you may most that may most give you spiritual comfort, and then you spend some time at that grotto. Correct?
Correct. That's exactly correct. One of our newer ones is Padre Pio. We have a number of people come to visit that for obvious reasons. Depending on what you're seeking, I think people go to those particular grottos, depending on what they're looking for.
Do you have any stories of what people experience when they visit? I mean, it's a place of prayer and healing, obviously, but what are some of the ways people experience that when they visit?
There are so many stories, and I'm not going to use the word miracles because we can't. But I've had a number of individuals share with me some healings that they feel that they have received because they came to the shrine. I had a woman maybe a year ago that said that she moved here from a different state, and when she came to Ohio, she was just having horrible, horrible sinus conditions. And she said she'd been to a number of physicians and nothing really helped her. She said she started coming here, and after she'd been coming here for about a month, she said her sinuses are cleared up. They're gone. Now, can we attribute that to the shrine? I don't know, but she believes so. But I have people share stories like that with me all the time. A very young couple were here. A young guy and his girlfriend, and they came to visit the shrine because the girl's grandmother used to come to the shrine a lot. So they came and visited the shrine themselves as a pair, and the young man came to me and said, "You know what? I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry me. I'd like to do it back at Our Lady of Lourdes." And, he said, I said, "Yes, you are more than welcome to do that." So, there's that. I had an optometrist that I actually see myself, and she found out that I was working here, and she said, "Oh, Marsha, I have a story to tell you." She said, "I've been in college," and she said, "My brothers and sisters all found a spouse and were married and beginning their families." And she said, "I just didn't find that special person." So she said, "I started coming to the shrine. I went into the chapel. I sat down in front of the right side of the chapel, which is where we have the Pieta or Pieta. You can say it however you like." And she said, "I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I just said to the Blessed Virgin, if I am supposed to be married, help me find that person. If not, I'll give my life to something else." And she said she prayed there several weeks, and she said she went back to college, and she met this guy in optometry school, and they became friends, and they got married, and they're married today, and the family still comes here. She brings her children here.
Wow, that is a great story, and as you said, can we attribute that to the Blessed Mother? Who knows? But that is certainly, I think, testament to her intercession at work.
And I have stories like that all the time, and people just like to share them.
So, Marsha, what do you think draws people to from around the country and even beyond to Bellevue? What do you think draws people there? to the shrine?
I honestly think it is because it's like just like anything else. When you really want to find some peace or get away from this crazy tweets, Twitter, all these things that we do all the time. We're always 100% connected. I think when you come to the shrine, you kind of walk into that peaceful place where all of that goes away, even if it's just for an hour. Um, I really do think that's it. It's a place to refresh yourself. I think that's a lot of people tell us that, and I believe it. It's just very.
More. As I said, I've been there twice, and it's serene. It is calming, and it is a great place for prayerful introspection. But even if that doesn't appeal to you, it is just a great place to come and to center yourself.
It is, and I believe there are a lot of people that come for that. We certainly host a lot of groups that come here. We really enjoy and appreciate our school age children coming over here, and the local parishes around us will schedule times for their students to come. Their classes will come over. Preparation for confirmation, First Communion. The schools will schedule that time here with us, and we don't necessarily conduct those. They'll bring their own religious ed directors, or their priest will come with them, but we host this spot for them, and they'll take the children back to the woods, and I mean, it's just, we have those types of groups. We have all kinds of people coming to retreat. We are just in the midst of booking our ethnic weekends. We're starting to, I think we have several of those already booked for 2026. I think we've locked in the Italians and the Slovenians and the Hispanics. And those are real special days here. Well, I think that first of all, the Missionaries of the Precious Blood are all embracing. I mean, they reach out, they tell their stories, they open themselves for the people here, and they're here to minister to them. And I think that's another thing that our people really appreciate about the Missionaries of the Precious Blood. A lot of folks come over here because they feel this is a special place to confess. And I will tell you, our confessional lines are long every day, and we hear confessions every day. And people have said to me, I really like to come there to confession. Those priests are so good. They spend so much time with me. They talk to me. It's not like not like I usually go to confession. It's a conversation between myself and one of your priests, and they're always so open and always telling me that that I'm forgiven, and that the Lord always will take us back.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that again, central to the mission of the shrine, and central to the mission of Missionaries of the Precious Blood. Marsha, is there a more popular time of year that people come to the shrine, or it's open obviously around the clock, 24/7? Is there a more popular time that people come?
Yes, obviously the spring and summer are our busiest times. Absolutely. The ethnic groups that come typically travel here by bus, and they schedule an entire day. But yes, spring and summer are our busiest times. After our 11 o'clock mass on Sundays, outside again. We'll have it, particularly that 11 o'clock mass. People will bring picnic lunches, and they'll just sit here with families and eat either under one of the pavilions or off to the one side of the chapel in the wooded area. By far and large. And there's someone, honestly, I think, Patrick, even when I leave the office every day, there are people coming in the parking lot, and they come in for, I think, they like to come here for two reasons. They tell me they like to come to walk the woods, the areas, but they're not only so this isn't a place just to walk for exercise. It's a place for them to walk and reflect. This property is busy into the early evening hours.
Okay. And as we've mentioned, and this probably bears repeating, the devotion to the seven sorrows of Mary is central to the shrine. Do you think? Can you explain that devotion and why you think it resonates with so many people?
Well, I think they can relate to her seven sorrows, and I think most Most frequently, people will say, when I think I am down and out or I'm suffering and I'm hurting, if I think of the Blessed Mother and all the seven sorrows that she went through, and particularly watching her son die for us on the cross, it kind of brings them full center and kind of grounds them. And I might be suffering through this, but look what our Blessed Mother suffered. So
And look what, yes, and look what she endured and survived. Absolutely. Yeah. I would think that that would give a lot of people hope and inspiration.
I think so, and I just think that there's a way. I mean, people are finding peace here. Our daily masses are. We have daily mass 11 o'clock every day, and that chapel, for a daily mass, you wouldn't think so, but our chapel is pretty full. People just find that, I don't know how to describe it. When you walk into our chapel and you can just kind of feel that stress and, it eases out of you. It's just, and some folks have said that, I've said to them, well, you could find that in any church, right? And they say, yes, I can, but even if I'm in my own parish church, I'm not feeling quite the same because I'm here at the shrine. It's not day-to-day usual stuff. I'm not seeing my friends and neighbors necessarily right beside me. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that they just find that this is a different place to just let go.
Marsha, you have kind of reinvented yourself professionally at the shrine. This wasn't it wasn't your first professional outing, and you worked for a number of years in healthcare. So help me make that transition. How did you go from being a healthcare executive to being an operations director for?
Good question. Well, I'll tell you what. I retired from healthcare. And I started coming. I've come to the shrine for years. I came here as a child. My grandmother was a German immigrant. She came here. I came here as a child. I brought my children here when they were young. So when I retired, I thought, oh, good. I'm going to have more time on my hands. I'm going to start going back to the shrine more frequently. So I started coming here for daily mass at 11 o'clock. And Father Scott Kramer heard that I was retired and asked if I was interested in coming back to work, to which I said no, I was not. And but he continued. He was very, very persistent. Let's just put it that way. And so here I am. I didn't come in this position, obviously, but Father Scott wanted a little help with. I did a lot of marketing. I did marketing and communication in my executive role in the hospital. So he asked if I would come to help the shrine with those types of things, with some cleaning up of Facebook and our website and all those sorts of things. So that's what I did when I first came here. I don't know. I tell people, a number of people ask me, why are you still doing this? Why don't you just retire and enjoy life? Why are you doing this? And my answer to that is, it doesn't seem like a job to me. Are we busy? You bet. But this doesn't seem like a job. It's unlike my other executive careers. This seems more like a mission, more like a vocation. Vocation, yes. It doesn't seem like I'm just working for working, the sake of working. It's much more than that. And to be a part of this, I think, is extremely special.
Well, explain that. Explain because as you said, it is probably more of a vocation than it is a profession. Explain that. Can you explain to our listeners what the shrine means to you personally?
Well, I'll tell you what, it means a great deal to me. I came here myself a number of times when I was struggling with personal things, and I would go right back to Our Lady of Lourdes and just sit there at that grotto and pray. And what it means to me is I've just been out of the office for 5 weeks, and when I was gone, I did a lot of, I sought a local church, and while I was in church praying one morning, I thought, this is vocation. This is something that I'm doing, and I still pray every day that, dear Jesus, please help me do the right thing to keep your mother's shrine where it needs to be. So it's a big responsibility, but it's something that I get a chance to do here on earth. It's a way to try to provide or keep something for the future. For the future, hopefully the younger people who will start coming back to the church. And hopefully we can get them to come back to places like the shrine. And the students that we see here throughout the year, I look at them and I just pray that they continue to come here, that we provide such an experience, that we touch them in some way, that they find this shrine as important as I did. And, and throughout my lifetime, it wasn't always the same. It was, hot, cold, hot, cold. I mean, when I was really busy doing one thing or another or raising my children, but I still brought my children here. And I still saw this as the place to come when I was trying to seek guidance or help making a decision. So I hope the shrine can provide that for all those people who come here. And the people that visit this shrine and come and talk to us, there is a love for this place like it's just unbelievable how people feel when they're here. And they share that with us.
So, Marsha, what would you say to someone who has never made a pilgrimage to the shrine but might be considering doing so?
I just had that conversation just a few weeks with someone. And,
okay.
And they said, well, but why would I come there, Marsha? And I said, I can't even explain that to you. You just really need to come to the shrine. You'll not regret it. You will not forget it. And if you're looking for a place to unwind, let go, do some soul searching, this is the place for you. And it's something you need to experience. It's very, very hard to describe. But I always tell them that you will not regret a visit to the shrine. And typically they do not.
Well, Marsha, okay. So looking ahead, what hopes do you have for the future of the shrine and its ministry?
Well, first, that we continue to grow it, sustain it, obviously, but we have to find ways to grow it also. And you can imagine a property of this size, there's just something going on every day. We've got a number of initiatives. When I think it's been over a year ago now, we had to replace our very, very large stained glass window in our outdoor chapel. There's something on the grounds that needs our attention all the time. So that's a focus that, as much as I want to only be focused on what we can do to bring more more spirituality here, I also have to focus on those things that will maintain this place. But I also am very excited about the Missionaries of the Precious Blood that we have here. We are beginning to offer some amazing monthly retreats. Father Patrick Gagno is offering those, and we are packing people in. In fact, we're having to turn people away. We're getting so many people there. And so I think that is another good thing for the shrine, because we're exposing more and more people to the shrine who haven't been here before. And we try to ask people when they register, have you been to the shrine before? And we've noticed that a number of them said, no, I've not, but I know that these retreats, I've heard great things about these retreats. So that is a way I think we're expanding or growing and developing and enriching what people experience when they're here.
Okay, great. Marsha, where can we find out more about the Sorrowful Mother Shrine?
On our website, obviously, at sorrowfulmothershrine.org. We do have a Facebook page, and we do welcome callers. Anytime someone calls in, we try to engage them. We invite them to come just for a visit, to chat with us, to do tours. We take tours of the grounds. If particularly if people have a little bit of trouble walking, we take golf cart tours. Those are probably the best ways, I think, to learn about us.
Marsha, thank you for sharing the story and mission of the Sorrowful Mother Shrine with us today. It's inspiring to hear how this sacred place continues to welcome pilgrims who are searching for prayer, healing, and hope. Places like the shrine remind us that even in the midst of life struggles, God meets us in quiet moments of prayer, in the intercession of the Sorrowful Mother, and in the enduring spirituality of the Precious Blood. Thanks to all of you for listening to Restoring Hope, the podcast of the Missionaries of the Precious Blood. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to share this episode and join us again as we continue to tell stories of faith, service, and hope rooted in the spirituality of the Precious Blood. Visit Missionaries of the Precious Blood at preciousbloodus.org and on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next time, may you always find hope in Christ's redeeming love.